For the beginning, I just want to say that this video was recorded as a live on the X app, and the fact that I also want to add the fact that English is not neither my first language, neither for me and neither for my husband. We both speak as our base language, we speak Romanian. And also I wanted to add the fact that, as I said, this video was recorded in the car while he was driving. We were going for a short trip, and that's why you're going to hear in the background the GPS and also the sound from the car, because the car is moving, of course. And I wanted to say that I'm sorry in advance for the way the sound is like. But otherwise than that, I suggest that you should listen to what I'm going to say in this, because after recording this I realized that there might be some parts where he is going to drive, where we didn't have any phone signal whatsoever, and that's why the live just stopped abruptly and really fast at certain points, at certain and certain important moments where I had like interesting and important things to say. And that's why I suggest to you and to everyone else that would like to listen to this, like the whole recording. I know that it's a little bit, like I said, it's not the greatest sound because of the car that's moving, but you can hear what I'm saying, so it's going to be okay. Yes. Basically, and in a short way, I just wanted to also add the fact that to say this like really fast, just wanted to say the fact that in this video, in this recording, basically I'm talking about my so-said alien experience. Also, after recording this, I realized that there might have been some moments where the live just stopped, and maybe it wasn't saved all the recording, and I was right, not all of the things that I had to say saved, and there were really important things that I said in the end of the video, because like when I reached like almost the end of the video, I started actually channeling this race, and the one that I'm connected with telepathically, like I said, the one that is assigned this alien, this what is called, this ambassador, or you know what is called in English, this representative of this race. So basically one of them is assigned for you, and every time you want to reconnect with them telepathically, you'll have to go through this one that you've been assigned with. Like, you can't contact anyone, anywhere, anytime you want, like every time you want to telepathically connect with them, you'll need and you'll have to go through this assigned one that have been assigned to you when you first started the telepathical communication. And after actually stopping the recording, and after some time, and after 1 day or so, I realized that I actually have channeled what they had to say about certain things. You will hear exactly at the end of the recording, of the live recording that I did in the car. You will hear when I said, like, instead of saying they, I started saying like we, and that's happening to me sometimes. That happened to me as well when I had my regressive hypnosis session in my past lives, in my past life regression, or what is called. So if you are interested in hearing like alien experiences or you are interested in this matter overall about other entities, other species, and all of that kind of stuff, I suggest to you to listen to this, because actually before all of this to start for me, I was like really skeptic, you know. I was really skeptic, like I was more into metaphysical stuff, spiritual stuff, new age stuff, like you know, spirituality, energy, chakras, philosophy, psychology, and I have my own beliefs about certain things, but overall I wasn't into this whole alien UFO stuff kind of thing, you know, and like I didn't knew a thing about all of this, but then I started having my experiences, and then because my husband was into this and he had more experience than me, because he used like to read books about this, he used to talk with other people about this, and he used to like watch YouTube videos about others talking about those experiences that they had and all of that kind of stuff. Like I had to ask him, like, please tell me this and that, you know, because look what happened to me, and this happened, and I realized that, and I had those dreams, and I had those telepathic communications and those synchronicities, which are really weird. And then he started telling me like those are real, and because I heard others having the same experiences just as you had, and this is what is called, like when you see a light moving on the sky and it's moving weirdly, and you need to ask them telepathically for power up, and that's just what I did, you know. That's just what I did, and he helped me realize those kind of things. And this is what I had to say before this video started. So please, if you are into this, please listen to it all. I know the sound is a little bit awful, but the message is still there, and I will add at the end, if you're still curious about the channeled messages or whatever I had to say or they had to say, listen to it until the end, and I will add at the end whatever I can actually remember from what they said, and it wasn't captured on the live recording because we didn't have any phone signal. But my experiences that I had with alien encounters and UFO sightings is like I used to go outside for a smoke in the night and before sleeping, and I will see those bright orbs, those bright white orbs flying on the sky. They were not moving like they were like an airplane. They were looking a lot like they were stars.
800 meters, continue straight to stay on DN1 E60.
They were looking like they were stars, but they were much brighter than stars. Kind of like airplanes, but didn't have like red colors and green colors like airplanes. And they were like
continue straight to stay on DN1 E60.
They were like those bright orbs, and they didn't have like a certain, you know,
continue on E60 for 3 kilometers.
They didn't have an exact trajectory like airplanes do, you know, like airplanes, just they're flying airplanes, and those that are like human made,
you can clearly see pulsing lights on them, so
they are just, you know, they are flying in a certain direction, you know. But those things that I saw, like they were flying like all over the place, you know, going like all around the place, not staying in a in one direction going, and they were looking like, but I know, like, I specifically know. Be careful for this guy because he's driving a little bit with wonky. And it's like, I don't know, I know for sure, intuitively and psychic in a way, I know for sure telepathically that they were like,
In 800 meters at the
Pleiadians.
roundabout, continue straight to stay on DN1 E60.
Like, I don't know exactly how to put this in words, and I don't know exactly how should I say this, or how should I explain this, the feeling that I have and get when I see those flying bright objects. But like, I know intuitively and telepathically that they are Pleiadians, and they were Pleiadians, and that I made contact with Pleiadians. And I don't know exactly, like, how should I put that in words, or how should I explain that and the connection that I felt. But like, I knew that it was them. Because, for an example, with few nights before seeing that, I would dream about them, or actually talking with them, or it will happen to me after I see those bright flying objects, ships, in that night or the next following nights. I will dream and talking with them. But the thing that you teach me, you know, like my husband teach me, because he's next to me, he's driving, and he can't talk that much because he's focused on driving. But the thing that my husband teach me, because, you know, before I wasn't so much in the alien UFO kind of stuff thing. I was more like into you know, just a second. I was more like into spirituality, metaphysical stuff, energy stuff, you know, conspirational theories and all of that kind of basic package, to say. And I wasn't so much into like UFOs and aliens and extraterrestrial beings and all of that kind of stuff. And so this subject wouldn't like interest me that much. Like, I knew that it was like a possibility that there could be something, but at the same time I was still like kind of a skeptic. Oh my god, ce agresiv este. Agresiv. Se pune o cameră, știi? Să ne frate o cameră. No. Anyways, I was talking with him that it was this aggressive guy behind us, and was there was giving like a specific law in Romania about this, like you aren't allowed to do this anymore. But yeah, anyhow. Yeah, and like I was kind of a skeptic before this, but I can't say that I'm a skeptic now anymore. Mostly because of the experiences that I had with this kind of stuff, and also the telepathic communication, the direct telepathic communication that I have. And so basically those bright orbs, they were flying, and they were looking like they weren't looking like they were airplanes. They were looking like bright stars, but they weren't that high above, like far away like stars, and they weren't either like comets or meteors. They were like just orbs, just big, bright, white, translucid, crystal-like orbs. They were really beautiful, like shiny, and then their lights would, at certain moments, they would power up, This is the term that my husband teach me and told me about.
It's from others that have seen these kind of things.
Yeah, but like, because I wasn't into UFOs and sightings and all of that kind of stuff, and I was skeptic. I didn't even had enough knowledge about all of this, or and my husband is really like into UFOs, and he's really into this kind of stuff, and he's really like into this kind of stuff, and he knows a bunch of stuff, and he connected with other people, and he watches other people's videos on YouTube and the internet and X and all of that kind of stuff about other people's experiences. And like, he knew before me telling him of my experiences, he knew about things. But basically he really wanted, like, really badly to have like alien experiences and all of that kind of stuff, and sightings and UFO sightings and all that kind of stuff. And when that thing actually started happening to me, I felt a little bit jealous, but it wasn't like I wanted specifically that to happen to me, like to see that and to encounter that and to sight that. Like, I didn't want it that badly, that to happen and to see that, like, I was skeptic, and I hoped, like, in the future for me to see if they could exist, or any small amount of, like, stuff to see, or to feel, or to have an experience. But after those happened to me, like, he started becoming a little bit jealous. But even so, he was and he is happy for me, because I saw that, and because also it's another experience, and because we are close to each other, and we don't lie to each other, and we always tell the truth, and all of that kind of stuff, and he believes me, and that matters a lot for me, and that also matters a lot for him, for someone this close to him to actually have that kind of experience. It was actually validating to him, and also validating for me and my skepticism, my you know what I'm trying to say. Skepticism. Yeah. And basically, I knew that I was connected with Pleiadians, and there are those tall beings that they don't have like gender sexual organs. They are neither females and neither males, but at the same time they have like both properties, like they look both feminine.
In 800 meters at the roundabout, take the second exit onto DJ 101R DN1.
They look both feminine, but at the same time they look both masculine and
Mainly.
Mainly. Mainly both feminine. And the thing is that they are pretty tall. Like they are around 2 meters and a half or something like that, around that height.
Exit the roundabout onto DJ101R.
They aren't fat. They are pretty skinny.
Continue on E60 for 25 kilometers.
But the thing is that I saw about them that really catched my eye is that dreaming about them and connecting with them at a telepathic level, the mental level, thinking that I see like this male figure, this male humanoid figure. I was thinking in my mind, like, okay, if he or she or whatever, it looks like kind of male but kind of feminine at the same time, like it's supposed to have something down there, but like they're connecting with me and they were hearing my thoughts because we were connecting to each other. And like they told me specifically, like they don't have neither. How they are continuing their race is that they are scientifically and medically they produce and they keep their body, like creating them in certain scientific ways. I don't know how to say that or how to put
Cloning?
yeah, something like that, like cloning. They are creating themselves, like they do not mate.
This is so sad.
They do not mate, they do not engage in sexual activities, like in a way. Oh, no. I mean, they do engage in sexual activities because they are really sexual beings, and they have that thing like really evolved, like sexual freedom. They are not attached like we are, like jealous, or like she is my girlfriend, or he is my boyfriend or my wife, and all of those kind of archetypal or whatever is called in English, like social stuff. They do not have that. And so they engage in sexual activities because they are really sexual beings, but they do not reproduce themselves like we do, like impregnating the female, and then a female type should get pregnant and should make another being. So the Pleiadians, they do not reproduce themselves like that. They something like they clone themselves.
I mean, that specific species, because there are lots of species in the Pleiadians.
Maybe, yeah, but those that I've connected with, and this one that I've connected with, and from what he or she or it told me, because this is the race of the alien race that I'm the most connected with. They basically told me those kind of stuff, and they connected with me and they showed me, and but they are funny, they are funny, they make jokes and all of that kind of stuff. They are like serious at the same time when it's about serious matters, but they live like to a really, really long age. Like those that are around 100, 200, 300 years, or even 500 years, they are small kids and they still need to explore, But those that are like around 1,000 and 1,500 or 1,700 of age, they are like we human are when we reach around the age of 35 years old, 45 years old, you know. And like for them, then it continues when they reach like that, when they reach that age, when they reach that time, they don't continue to like grow older, you know, like we do. They evolve until a certain point, like they keep growing and they keep exploring and being like children are. But when they reach the maturity age, like we human, for example, we reach like 35 years old, 45 years old, then they stop, they can use their metabolism and they can stop growing old, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's like their metabolism and their overall system, it's
They have better control over their bodies. They're not like just use them automatically.
Yeah, so, like they can keep that in what is called in stasis.
Yeah.
Kind of like a stasis. And then when they feel like they've done that enough, and like it's time to recycling themselves, because their bodies are being recycled again for those that are going to be rebuilt. It's like those small shuttles, those small pods, you know. So they go in those small pods and they go kind of like in a sleep, and then their bodies are being atomically deconstructed. I don't know if that makes sense. Like their whole bodies, their bodies, when they're feeling ready, like to be recycled and reborn again as small babies, their bodies are being molecularly and atomically deconstructed, and so they go back into this recycling thing, and then their consciousness, it's being like rebirthed into a new sleep. And this is about that. I don't know if that made sense. But this is how they showed me and they told me, and like those things to be for their race. It's really interesting because I could actually write a book about this species. Because there are many little stuff about their social structure, about their social structure, about their overall structure as beings, biologically speaking, and also in many ways, you know. Să oprim la onda asta. Vezi?
Ok.
Prima care o să o vezi în cale, nu-i problemă. Caut pe hartă. Ce faci? Oh my god, those people. Yeah. Yeah, and this is about that. Now, how they look. Like I said, about their reproductive system and all of that kind of stuff. They look like and what they've been called, like Nordic aliens. They are tall. They have rainbow eyes. From a distance, they look like bluish grayish eyes, like that kind of blue that is going towards it's going towards a grayish bluish blue, really bright and really beautiful, and you can see this energy emanating from them, their auras like being really beautiful, really loving and really kind, and you feel really safe around them, and they're always so bright and so beautiful, not only in a physical matter way, but they have this effect on our human bodies. They have those biologically speaking and hormonal speaking, they have their bodies have this effect on our human bodies, in which basically we get really sexually aroused around them. When I first had this experience, this mental experience with them and connecting with them and talking with them and seeing them, I felt like so sexually aroused that I was dreaming, like almost ripping their costumes off, their t-shirts off, you know, and they were looking at me, and this Pleiadian specifically looked at me, and he was something like, what are you doing, you know? And I was like, yeah, what am I doing? Like, I can't control myself. What is going on? And then they proceed by telling me that they have this effect on our human bodies. It's like they're magnificent beings. They're magnificent, beautiful beings. Not only like in a physical way, but also in a spiritual, energetical way. You feel so completed. You feel so at home, and you feel so, you know, peaceful. Like you are protected, and they are there for you, you know, to serve you and because this is how they were raised to be, and this is how they are in their society as well, not only with us humans. Yeah. If you want to know more about this, you can actually write a comment. You can connect with me through this live, or you can connect with me through comments after this live will end. Yeah. So from a distance, when you look at their eyes, they have those beautiful rainbowish, those beautiful bluish, grayish, like eyes. But when you come closer to them, you can clearly see, because of our DNA, of the DNA, I mean. When you come closer to them, you can see. When you come closer to their eyes, you can see clearly their eyes. They are not blue anymore. They are like this beautiful rainbowish color, with lots of little thin strings in their eyes, in the colors, in the, you know, what is called, I forgot what is called in English. I mean, you know, the circle with the color in the eyes. Retina or whatever it's called. You know, that circle with the color. And yeah, and when you come closer, looking at their eyes, you can clearly see they have those beautiful rainbowish color eyes, and with thin strings of blue, those strings that are creating, and you can see from a distance, from which you can see from a distance the blue color, formating the blue color. But it's like an illusion, you know. But when you come closer to them and you see their skin, the skin is cold. Even if they are emanating this beautiful ray of aura, and this beautiful aura of love and peace and safety and warmth and all of that kind of stuff, even if they are emanating that aura, their bodies are cold because their bodies were adapted to space. Their bones are kind of fragile, because again, if they were to come to Earth, they will need special equipment to be able to actually walk on the Earth, because their bodies weren't created for an actually gravity. Their bodies weren't created for gravity. Their bodies were created specifically, and they created themselves scientifically, specifically designed to have more endurance in the space, in space specifically. Of course, there are different type of bodies. There are those type of bodies that were created because they all have a meaning. They all have a meaning to do something. They aren't created like just to be and that's it. They are created with a purpose. They are created with a purpose and with a meaning, with a way of things. And so because of that, they have different bodies adapted for each task. If there were to be like wars that have been in the before the confederation of interplanets were created, there were wars between them and Greys. Back before even the Earth were created, there were wars between them and reptilians as well. How do I know that? Well, the being that I'm connected with is connected with the part of Council that make part of the Council of Earth as well, and of the Council of staff and the Confederation of Interplanets. There is this being that is assigned to those that want to connect with them. So if you want to connect with them, you'll connect with one of them, and this one will be always assigned to you, and will always be assigned to you. And each time you would want to reconnect with them, you will reconnect with this one that is been assigned to you. Yeah. Sorry for being so dark. Like I said, we are in a car. We are traveling in a mini trip.
What do they eat? Do they poop?
Do they poop? They do not poop, actually. They do not feed themselves like we do with food, with physical food like we do. They do not eat. They're not using their mouth to eat, even though they have teeth like teeth.
They have teeth?
They don't have teeth.
Nice.
I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
No, they have teeth now.
They have the mouth and they have the all of kind of stuff that we have.
They have teeth?
I don't mean teeth. Stop saying that.
What's wrong with teeth?
They do not have teeth like humans do, actually. Yeah. Like those bouncy stuff. So they have their mouth structure and all of that kind of stuff, but they do not feed themselves like we do. They do not engage with eating, even though they use their mouths to. Okay, that was suddenly and unexpectedly.
It's alright.
It's alright. Yeah, and so they do have those features like we have, but they do not engage in eating like we do. They feed themselves through a tube. They feed themselves through a tube that is connected somewhere
in 500
in their bodies.
meters at the roundabout, continue straight onto Kalia Bucuresti, DN1.
That is connected through somewhere in their bodies. I don't know. It's like this liquid, this white translucent liquid that they use it. Something like a matrix, you know.
Are they robots?
They aren't robots. They aren't robots. They're sorry for my accent. I don't know what the fuck is going on. They aren't robots, but they are actually biological beings. They are biological beings like we are, but their bodies are, like I said, specifically and scientifically being designed for using as much space as possible.
What do you mean, smart space?
To use like
Using space?
it's, you know, like space, like
Do they have different bodies on the planet?
no, like they have their bodies have been biologically designed like we do, okay? But the thing that is so different between us and them is that we humans, for an example, we've been accommodated to gravity, but they don't, you know. They've been created that way to be able to thrive in space.
Okay.
But we humans, we need, like, for an example, to buy houses, we need like spaces where we must live. For an example, we couldn't like live in a coffin. No, like you can't breathe in a coffin, you can't stay in a coffin for a long time, for an example, you know, excluding claustrophobia and all of that kind of stuff. Our bodies weren't built for like living in a coffin, and so we need like a bigger space to have air to breathe and all of that kind of stuff. But their bodies have been concepted, their bodies have been created in a specifically scientifically way in which they've been created like to use as much little living space as possible, to go even years without feeding themselves through that tube, you know.
Okay.
They haven't been designed and for like I said, like we humans been designed to enjoy all of this and to, you know.
Are they military? Because that sounds like a military
They've been
type of...
No, this is like a base thing, because all of them being created, like I said, their bodies have different adaptations, specifically for different things, and we will have to keep going this discussion after we come back. So we are back now.
In 500 meters.
Let's keep going with our conversations from where we were at. So I was talking about this specific part of the Pleiadian race. So you were asking me, my husband was asking me, before this, be sure you see the other first part, because this is a continuation of the first part. My husband was asking me if those beings they are all constructed the same, and if they are military, because from the description that I gave, they seem like military. And I want to mention the fact that no, they aren't like specifically all of them created like military, but they all have this base of being created. And like I said, there are body adaptations made specifically for each category of what they are doing. So for an example, if they are indeed in a kind of like military, and they are protecting their species, and they are like those they are mostly peaceful, you know, like they like to not engage into those stuff, in those kind of things. But if they are being threatened, they will like retaliate. It is not the kind of species that likes to be under the foot of oppression. It's not the kind of species that likes oppression and to bow their heads down. Even so, they are not proud. Like they are not proud. It's not like they have that proudness taken at a toxic level. But they like their space, and they like their what they are doing, and they want in a way to keep doing that, and to be in the service for humanity, to be in the service for other beings.
Are they like in Star Trek, like the Federation?
About what you mean?
I mean that behavior, like officers and medical people, and
you mean the rank, like
no, just that structure. I mean, like that, how they show in Star Trek, that they work together, many species, and even them, and they have a structure. They have a fleet of ships. They protect their territory. They protect their friends.
Yeah, they do that. They have a fleet of ships. Bah.
What do you mean, bad?
No, I was joking. That's a joke. That's supposed to be a joke. They have a fleet of ships. Bah.
Oh, ships.
Ships.
Oh. Right.
Yeah, I was just joking. Yeah, they have all of that kind of stuff, and like they are protective of themselves and of their race. You know, they're not doing that in a proud way like reptilians do. Like reptilians like to show themselves. Like, look at me. You know, I have this, and you can touch me. You know, reptilians are like this. Like reptilians are like, they like to show themselves off. You know, like, look at me. I have this. I'm so strong. I'm more powerful than you. But they aren't. You know, and they do that because they're feeling like threatened because of the other races. at a certain developed level, reptilians at this moment, they are still not at that high development range as Pleiadians. So they possess no threat to them. Even so, there can be those races like they attack, you know, and it's not like Pleiadians and this type of beings from the Pleiadian overall star system, they personally like attack, you know. They protect themselves, and they are ready to protect themselves and to attack back in protection, but not attack back like to destroy something, because they are not the destroyer type of beings. They are kind of like really protective beings, and they're here for like development. They're here for like development. They're here for like to help others and to be there for them. They will not do like harm with intention to another being. They will not harm with intention like another being if they are not being like threatened like in a big way. Even so, if for an example they are really peaceful and really mediative, you know, like they don't they do not, even if they were attacked, they do not attack back without, if they don't have enough good reason. So they are really the peaceful kind of beings. And even if they are being attacked at first, they like to find ways. They like to find ways to heal that, you know, and to create like a peaceful resolution, to create like a peaceful
diplomacy.
Yeah, diplomacy is the word. Diplomacy is the word. I was talking about, because you were asking me about their biological stuff. You were asking me if they are all created like this to be tough, you know, and like no, they are all like this. They are all like this, created at their base to be able to like function in the best way possible. Imagine like you have this computer, and it's a supercomputer. Why? Because it is small, it doesn't occupy like lots of space, it doesn't require like electricity or like to take something from something, you know. It works because it has been created with the best capacity and the best tools to have the best efficiency ever. Even so, that doesn't mean that it's the ultimatum and the most perfect version. There is always place for development in anything, you know. Even if, for an example, a certain race or certain beings, they reach a certain technologically like development, that doesn't mean they're just going to stop and that's it. There is always place for better and better and better in development, because at the end, and the best, and what they are telling me, for an example, right now, their main purpose is to evolve at a certain point where they will not require nothing anymore, neither sleeves, bodies, neither electricity, technology, and all of that kind of stuff. By the way, their electricity, they will use like they have this device for their starships and all of that kind of stuff. They have those devices like they use something in like Star Trek, you know. I don't know what is called. It's like some cells. They do not use electricity taken from something. Like for an example, we human do. Their electricity, they create that electricity and they are transforming that. They are transforming that from the radiation of the universe. So they take that radiation, because we all know in space there is lots of radiation. It is the right word in English, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. So they take that radiation and they transform it through this device and create a high voltage of electricity. For an example, that type of device and that type of electricity, even from a single starship, is able to destroy a very high amount, for an example, of planet, like Earth, for an example. It has the capability to open portals, to open doors to other dimensions, to travel interstellar and interdimensional, and at a high, very speed.
Do they use time travel?
Time travel?
Yeah.
They can time travel, and they do time travel, but they do not engage in with other beings from that time. They can implicate themselves, for an example, but not directly. Not directly if they do not have like they do not implicate themselves if they do not have the agreement and the acceptance from the councils, because there is always an order for those kind of things. Biologically speaking, they want in the future of themselves to develop a way where they can be even more efficient with their bodies. Because like I said, they can go even maybe hundreds of years to not use to feed with that kind of liquid from that kind of tube. They all have been created that is specific because they are biological. So being biological, that means they can still be destroyed and they can still die, just as we humans do. But their consciousness and their minds, and their memories, will be stocked in a nano device, extremely small, even smaller than nano, and their consciousness and their memory, it will be saved on that device, and it can be transferred to other beings. And I mean, not to other beings, but it can be also transferred to other beings, of course, but it can also be transferred into a new sleeve, into a new body created. They basically take their DNA and they recreate themselves, molecularly speaking and atomically speaking.
That's the body, that's not the soul.
What?
The DNA is the body, it's not the soul.
Yeah.
So they transfer the soul, not DNA.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, they're transferring their consciousness and their memory if it can be retrieved. If it can be retrieved from that from what is being left to a new DNA created, molecularly reconstructed being. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I said, they have really lots of things that we can. They have lots of things that we can learn from them.
Do they have religion?
No, they do not have religion because... What?
I knew it.
Of course, they do not have religion because their social system, like I said, is being constructed and build it not in a pattern in a way that we humans do, but like I said, if they are being constructed, they are constructed with reason, with a motive, not just to be around. Like for an example, if being like choose them, if you're being at the end of their, for I don't know how to say this, but for an example, if a being like reached the end of their cycle, because like I said, there isn't like an exactly end of their cycle, but if a being feels like spiritually, because we are talking about religion, spirituality, generally speaking, if this kind of being like reaches kind of enough, like that's enough, and they reach a certain development in a spiritual way, and they realize and they want like to reconnect with the and reintegrate with the consciousness overall that is part of even us humans, you can do so. But this thing doesn't occur so often. This thing mostly occurs after thousands and thousands of years.
In 600 meters, turn left onto Strada Valle Erasnove, DN73A.
Where a being really want that, and at the end of a cycle, of their cycle. So this doesn't occur that often in young.
Take the next left onto Strada Valle Erasnove, DN73A.
Young beings. For an example,
continue on DN73A for 19 kilometers.
For an example, they can choose. Like I said, they keep their memories. Okay, so that memory is being transferred to a new sleeve, to a new body. If that memory is transferred to a new body every time, I mean, after thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and so on, millions of years of existing, that being reaches like in enough level of spiritual development, and it chooses like I don't know how to say this, but like in a way to commit, not to commit that thing, but they choose, like it's a choice. Like if they choose to stop that, then they can do that. But what will be the point in a really developed being, spiritual being, that lived again and again and continuously with the same memories, serving to retry, like, I don't know, to do the same things over and over again. There is no actually logical reason, and that's why most of them at the end of their cycles, of their living cycles, they choose to like recycle their consciousness and maybe even try like human incarnations. None of that cannot solve. Or other incarnations, or maybe incarnations as reptilian or lower incarnations, where they can help their counterparts, they can help their fellows, the other beings that are living in lower certain conditions. So to say, for an example, that there are star seeds, there are human star seeds, there are Pleiadian star seeds in human human bodies. If that occurs, and if that happens, and if that is, then it means those are really developed, high advanced beings that lived, like I said, thousands and thousands and even millions of years. But dealing with amnesia and remembering that all of that kind of stuff and integrating that knowledge and all of that kind of stuff into, for an example, like human living, it's a really hard task because, like I said, you are dealing with amnesia, and to apply the knowledge that you gained from all of those lived thousands and thousands of years, millions of years maybe, yes, for an example, incarnated Pleiadian, you will make use of your intuitive part. And that's about that. Wow, that's pretty dark from here.
Make it.
You like it?
Yes. Are there aliens on Earth? Of course there are.
Aliens on Earth? Yeah, there are many species. There are many species of alien beings on Earth right now. There are also Pleiadians that are using like human sleeps, and I'm not talking here about star seeds. I'm not talking about star seeds. I'm not talking about Pleiadian star seeds in human bodies, but I'm talking here about, like, for an example, Pleiadians using like makeup and all of that kind of stuff to disguise themselves as humans. And I saw that, and in a dream, and I communicated with one of them, and they told me like they were cutting their hair because they used like to have because ai văzut videaua? Ce tare a fost. There was like this light that was flashing. Then it stopped randomly, okay? So like I said, because of their DNA and because of their really fast metabolism, they have like a really high power of self-healing, like a really high power of self-healing because of their DNA. For an example, if you took like a really small amount of their because their blood, for an example, the blood isn't red like ours, no? No, it isn't.
Green?
No, it's in color. It doesn't have a color. It's translucent.
Okay.
It looks a little bit like the thing that they are feeding with through a tube, you know? Oh, like that liquid. And so okay, that's not s-a dezamărit. And so, for an example, their blood is translucent, and even a small drop could heal, for an example, wounds or cancer in the human body.
Oh no, don't tell corporations that. They'll kill them.
It's okay because they can't touch this. No, can't touch this. Yeah, and also because of their DNA and because of the color of their blood and the color of all of that kind of stuff, their hair color will kind of be the same. From a distance, you can see their hair color to be like platinum white, long platinum white, because like I said, their metabolism and their DNA is really fast working, and they can heal their wounds fast and all that kind of stuff. They can heal themselves, they can heal their bodies. But because of that acceleration, their hair growth will be just as fast, and their hair will just grow really fast. Yeah. And so, for an example, in that dream, sorry. In that dream that I had, I was talking with one of them that he wanted to like go towards, and he had this mission, you know. And he had this mission, and I was talking with him, and he was cutting his hair, you know. I mean, others were cutting his hair and were using makeup and you know, eye contacts. Eye contacts is called?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were using like eye contacts and all that kind of stuff to disguise their eyes, and they're using like concealer and all of that kind of stuff, something like that, you know, something like concealer, like makeup for their skin. But of course it was like another level of makeup, because it was high resistant for water and adapted to their skin. And also they had like this translucent thing used for
chemicals.
Yeah. And wait a second, I also want to mention the fact that like I said, their bones are really fragile, and they were not created and made for gravity of the earth. And because of that, because they weren't created for that, they need to adapt in time their bodies. They cannot come directly to earth and like, you know, let's do this. They need the time to prepare themselves, like in human time, like about 2 weeks. They need about, in human time, 2 weeks before coming to earth to adapt their bone structure, to actually to not fracture their bones. After they're doing that, and after that is happening, a certain kind of thing will happen. They will suddenly feel like pain, like really, really high pain in their bodies, because this is something, and those kind of missions, they are not being done by everybody, like everybody from their society, you know. And this kind of thing is being done by specially trained personnel that have accepted and understood the risks that make part of those kind of missions of coming to Earth. And in human time, they take around like 2 weeks to prepare their bones for to adapt their bone structure for human planet gravitational system. Yeah, and so they will kind of start and act like humans, you know. It's really funny because some of them they transform themselves so good, and they are so good at disguising themselves that some of them don't even return back to their home planet. Like they choose, you know, to stay around here. Even so, those are special cases and not all of them are being allowed. It depends to a case to another. Yeah.
Do you think they voted for Trump?
They do not engage in. They do not engage in. They are not that kind of race, like for example, reptilians, to implicate themselves straightforward like that. You know, they can influence. They can influence, and they have an opinion, maybe, and they share that with for example, the Art Council, but they do not implicate themselves like that to make choices and to influence the result, the end result. If they were to do that, and those that are doing that, they are just, you know, it's not good. Let's say it like that. It's not good. It's not good for them. Because as humans, we are put here to have free will. We are put here to have free will, to develop ourselves technologically and scientifically, not by outside direct help. What other lower races, like for example reptilians, did, they implicated themselves, they affected the end result, and they influenced. Oh my god, please be careful with that one in front of us, because he's kind of reckless. He's driving reckless. And for example, some lower races, they implicated themselves, influencing the end result of a certain situation, and so they influenced the trajectory of human evolution, and they affected the human evolution in such a big way that we, for an example, we were supposed now to be like already really evolved technologically.
I know, right?
But those lower races that involved themselves and affected the end result and influenced the development of humanity, those are, like I said, lower races. Those are races that made like exchange with the humans, and like they made a certain. Oh my god! Look at that guy how he's driving, and they made like certain exchanges. For an example, an exchange for technology for human slavery, for an example. That's just a small example, if you can actually realize that. That's just a small example. They exchanged basically biological humans for interracial mating and all of that, all of kind of nasty stuff. They exchanged humans for slavery, they exchanged humans for testing on them, they exchanged humans on all kind of stuff that you don't even want to know about. Really, really bad stuff. And so, doing that, the humans accepted certain conditions. They were to do that if they're going to meet those conditions. And so, accepting those conditions, they accepted the limitations of them, and they accepted the end result of them. And they thought that this was in the good welfare of the whole planet, of human beings. But instead, they don't realize that what they did and what is happening right now at this moment is the actual result of this exchange and of their choices. Yeah. And so because of that, the human race have been punished. At certain points, the Pleiadians had to intervene. The human race have been punished by those lower races because they wanted more. They give something. They give something small but want like everything in return. For an example, you ask for small stuff from them, and they in return they will ask for your body, your soul, and a few others with it. What's going on?
Big drop.
Trecerea interzisă, poligon de tragere. What? What is that? Huh?
Over there.
What is that?
It's a firing area.
Cool. Yeah. And because of that affected the human evolution and development and technology development and all of that kind of stuff. And that's why they
They,
sorry.
them.
I mean, no, I was saying like we, but they. That's why they don't implicate themselves in that kind of way to influence the. So now that you've reached the end of the video, the recording that I did in the car together with my husband, I'm just gonna try and remember what we talked about further and add that in this. We talked about the fact that the Pleiadians, and especially this race that makes part of the Pleiadian star system, don't implicate themselves, and they don't implicate themselves without before agreement with the Federation of Planets and the councils that are. They do not implicate themselves mostly because of what been before, and also they do not implicate themselves directly to come in contact in a way that it could influence one's choices and one's directions about what to do. For an example, to tell you exactly do this or do that. That's the will and that's the do of lower alien races, like those kind of alien races that they are more into creating slavery, creating poverty, and creating all kind of bad stuff, because of their long age and because of the fact that they live for so long as race. They've seen things and they have a clear history of the Earth since it was formed until the present moment, and even future possible events that may happen. As they can travel to different dimensions, they can travel in the past and in the future as well. Talking about history and about those that have written the history itself, history on the Earth is biased. The human evolution and development is actually stagnant not because us as humanity mostly, but because of other races and other beings that interfered with our development, and because of our what is called leaders, certain leaders that we had, on the Earth, and they made contact with aliens and with certain kind of races, alien races, and certain kind of entities, and they give things in exchange for certain kind of development, trying to rush this kind of thing. Different things happened in different timelines and different possibilities. This is one of them. Even so, our power of consciousness and overall as a community consciousness connected, we have the power to actually lower down the grids and the walls that have been created by others only to distract us. To distract us, if you know what I mean. Not to distract us, but to distract. When humans and those that were called the leaders of humans, certain kind of the leaders of humans, weren't available, and they denied that they were to give something in return, then other things happen. And we see this kind of thing in many occult, lower vibrational kind of rituals and religions and all of that kind of stuff, in which one is about to give something in return as a sacrifice of itself or of another, of something that is innocent, in return for something that is only material and only for a small pleasure for the moment. And this small pleasure for the moment, that they thought it was good for them, but not for the whole of the planet and whole community of humans, it was technology. And because of that, we were punished when we didn't give something in return as humans. I don't know if that makes exactly sense at all, but in this kind of thing we have like certain known alien races like reptilians, but more reptilians like to show themselves off, but they didn't reach like in enough even development like to be on a good adversary or something like that. You can't say exactly that they were innocent, as they like to push a little bit the limits of where they should go, but mostly we have also certain greys that were also implicated into this and that also infiltrated the humans in society. There are all kinds of infiltrated like different alien races and all of that kind of stuff, and as well those that are only trying to observe us. Talking about this race that I was talking in this video, at the moment my husband, when I was in the car with him, he asked me something like, are they on Earth right now? Is there anyone from the race that is on the planet right now? And I was like, yes, they are. But the thing is that they look exactly like humans. And one thing that I remember from the conversation that I had with him that night in the car was that they take around 2 human weeks before they actually can come to the planet. Their bodies are not accommodated and accustomed with the gravity with the planet. Their bodies were created more and mostly for the space. Their bodies were and are created and adapted more for the space. They have a lower bone density, and so they take around 2 human weeks before they can actually land and walk on the earth to regenerate molecularly and then the DNA structure and the bone structure before they can actually walk on the planet. Because if they were to actually walk on the planet, like they will have had like really fragile bones. But even so, another important thing about the race is that even a single small drop of their blood, because their blood isn't like ours, it isn't red, it is more like a liquidish kind of thing, white in color, and even a single small drop of their blood could heal many diseases of our human race. Even so, it isn't indicated that that should be used in healing like human bodies, mostly because it would affect and degenerate our DNA structure as humans, because their DNA structure is really advanced and really different than ours, and it could not create compatibility to actually create something like a blood transfusion or something like that, and it could create like a collapse of the lungs, livers and kidneys, heart and brain, the failures in human bodies, and also this could end like in seizures. This is what I seen, this is what they are also transmitting me right now. This isn't something exactly that we talked in the car, but this is what they tell me right now. Also, like I said about the history, about the fact that now they can in a way interfere, even so they cannot, like I said, they cannot decide exactly and tell people exactly this is what you have to do, you go that way or something like that. So they could give advices and be really good advisors, like we could tell you something like it should be better if it should be this way and that way and all of that kind of stuff, and guide in a better direction because it's an outside perspective, but they do not want at the end when the result is to be like on them, you know, like to be guilted for something that a decision that they did not take, or they do not want to partake or participate in that. For an example, the human mind and the humans, they have many of them bad intentions, and they like to mix what others have to say, and they understand some things in a certain way and they get triggered, and because of that it's better if not influenced at all. They use certain high-tech makeup, to say it like this, in which they can disguise themselves as humans. They use certain high-tech developed makeup resistant to water. It's better than Maybelline if you ask me, and concealer and eye contacts and all of that kind of stuff that are specific for them. And they also cut their hair, and they have the capability to stop regenerating and regrowing their hair. For example, if they cut their hair and DIY their hair, like they can keep it that way, not the color, the DIY stuff on the hair, but like if they cut their hair at a certain length, they can keep it that way because they have the power over their the DNA regeneration and growth system and immune system and all of that kind of stuff. Like I said in this recording, when I was in the car together with my husband, they have the capability to heal themselves, and they have access over their DNA structure, their body, and all of that kind of stuff. Even so, they still use outside technology, like material technology, because even so, there is still space left for development. In every race, there is still some things that are still being worked on and keep being polished and worked on. Like nothing is actually perfect, but even so, this still can be developed. Like I said in the video, their bodies have been created specifically to consume as little, as much as possible, their type of food that they are being fed with through a tube. That liquid, they can, if they want, they can go years and years without that. And their bodies have been created specifically to not be like claustrophobic like we humans are. If we are being like, they can use small space pods in which it's like a coffin, and they do not use and they don't need, like we do, those type of beds, chairs, those type of chairs. If you see them, and if in their space, in their starships, if you see them in the starships, you will see them mostly dressed in a uniform, in a blue with white and golden uniform. Also mostly without sitting down on chairs. They are really active, and they were built in that way to actually be not be like we are, like they always have a mission, something to do, and so you don't see them often to rest, but when they rest, they actually go into a stasis phase, and that stasis phase, they use it as DNA regeneration, not for sleep like we do. But if you're thinking about it, we also use sleep as a form of regeneration, body regeneration, brain regeneration, all of that kind of stuff. I think there were studies being made on that type of thing. And like I said, one last question that my husband asked me when I was in the car with him in the video, before the video stopped recording because of the phone signal, is that he asked me if there are any of them on the planet right now, and yes, they are. Like I said, they are infiltrated like others are, and they use specially really high-tech makeup, which is really cool. Hope they could borrow me some. Of course, a cure for cancer and all of that kind of stuff, and high technology and all of that kind of stuff would be really awesome, but I would really like some really advanced high-tech makeup too, like, you know. And that's it. That was for this. Thank you everyone for listening to me. And this, like I said, I'm sorry a little bit for the video sound, but the message is still there, and I hope you find this interesting just as much as I did. If you want me to write a book on this, and if you find the idea interesting, and if you would buy a book about this, please let me know, because I find this interesting too, and I have also other projects that I'm working on, but I will make this a priority because I like it too very much. So if you want this to be a book, please let me know.